In the spotlight tonight is Katherine Gillespie from Surrey, an IT consultant. Her specialist subject is Lawrence of Arabia. Andrew Whitworth from West Yorkshire, a university lecturer on the works of Clive Barker. Steve Clark from Bournemouth, a mental health nurse, and his subject is the life and works of Tony Hancock. And Andy Paige from Merseyside, a civil servant, whose subject is the life and works of Gilbert and Sullivan. Hello, I'm John Humphreys and welcome to the third quarter-final. Each of our contenders tonight has already won a round, so they are now in the running to go through to the grand final, and they're in with a chance of becoming Mastermind 2003. All that stands between them and that great honour is that they've got to answer two lots of questions, one on their chosen subject and one on general knowledge, and they get just 2 minutes a time to do it. So, may I have our first contender, please? And your name is?
Katherine Gillespie.
Occupation?
IT consultant.
Your last chosen subject was the Emperor Nero. Tonight it is?
Lawrence of Arabia.
2 minutes on Lawrence of Arabia, starting now. Under what pseudonym did Lawrence enlist in the Royal Tank Corps in 1923, a name he claimed to have chosen at random?
Thomas Edward Shaw.
Correct. Lawrence is buried at St Nicholas Church, Morton, but the memorial to him, carved by Eric Kennington, can be found in which Dorset church?
It's St Martin's in Wareham.
Correct. After the capture of Aqaba in July 1917, Lawrence was recommended for a Victoria Cross, but this was refused. Which decoration with the DSO was he recommended for instead?
Got the Croix de Guerre for Aqaba.
Companionship of the Bath, he declined. Although christened Thomas Edward, by what name was Lawrence known to his family and friends?
Ned.
Correct. Lawrence studied history at Jesus College, Oxford, gaining a first-class honours degree in 1910, due in part to a notable thesis on which subject?
It was the influence of the Crusaders on European architecture. The influence of the Crusades on European architecture to the end of the 12th century.
I'll accept that. General Murray was succeeded as the Commander-in-Chief of the Egyptian Expedition Force by which general for whom Lawrence would act as liaison with Faisal?
Allenby.
Correct. Lawrence began work on the Seven Pillars of Wisdom while in Paris during 1919. For what purpose was he in France at the time?
The Paris Peace Conference.
Correct. Which artist's line drawing done in pencil in his studio in Paris provided the frontispiece for Revolt in the Desert?
James McVeigh.
No, Augustus John. In 1929, while stationed in Plymouth as assistant to his commanding officer, Sidney Smith, Lawrence took a leading role in the organisation of which prestigious contest?
The Schneider Trophy.
Correct. At which address in Westminster is there a blue wall plaque on a house, at the time used as an architect's office, where Lawrence occupied an attic room?
It's Barton Street.
Correct. 14 Barton Street. Purchased 3 years before his death. What was the make of the motorcycle that Lawrence was riding when he had his fatal accident?
Rough Superior.
Correct. Which American newspaperman and former professor at Chicago Law School did much to create the heroic status and public celebrity of Lawrence?
Lowell Thomas.
Correct. Lawrence carved Greek characters, normally transcribed ou frontis, in the lintel above the entrance to his cottage, Clouds Hill. What did this mean?
Why worry?
Correct. What was the name of the novelist? I've started, so I shall finish. What was the name of the novelist, a friend of Lawrence and supporter of the British Union of Fascists, who believed that he could induce Lawrence to commit to the radical right?
George Bernard Shaw?
No, it was Henry Williamson. Katherine Gillespie, you passed on none of those questions. You have scored 11 points. And our second contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Whitworth.
Occupation?
University lecturer.
Your last chosen subject was Stanley Kubrick. Tonight it is?
The works of Clive Barker.
The works of Clive Barker in 2 minutes, starting now. What was the title of Clive Barker's first full-length published novel, which originally appeared in print in 1985?
The Damnation Game.
Correct. What was the title of the 1992 film, directed by Bernard Rose and starring Tony Todd in the title role, based on a story by Barker?
Candyman.
Correct. Which play that appeared in the collection Forms of Heaven concentrates on the efforts of the time travellers to transform the appearance of Barker's native city, Liverpool?
Paradise Street.
Correct. In which American city's central post office is the opening chapter of The Great and Secret Show largely set?
Omaha.
Correct. What was the title of the 1978 film in which Clive Barker appeared alongside Peter Atkins, who played Faust in it?
Pass.
In the ghost story Cold Heart Canyon, what is the name of Todd's ruthless agent?
Maxine.
Correct. Under what title was the 5th volume of the Books of Blood series published in the United States?
In the Flesh.
Correct. What is the surname of Candy, the native of Chickentown, whose epic journey forms the heart of Barker's Abarat?
Quackbuster.
No, Quackenbush. In the film Lord of Illusions, adapted from the novella The Last Illusion, what was the name of the private eye played by Scott Bakula?
Harry Demoe.
Correct. What is the profession of Will Rabjohns, the central character in Barker's commentary on social, political and environmental issues entitled Sacrament?
He's a photographer.
Correct. The 1990 film Nightbreed, in which film director David Cronenberg played Dr. Philip K. Decker, was directed by Clive Barker and adapted from which of his novels?
Cabal.
It was. What is the other name of the saint sinner who is featured in the Razorline comic book series?
Pass.
Which Spanish painter is the subject of Colossus, one of the series of plays featured in the Barker collection's Incarnations?
Goya.
Correct. Mr. Hood, Mrs. Griffin and Harvey Swicker characters in which Clyde Barker novel published in 1992?
Thief of Always.
Correct. In Imagica, what is the full name of the master forger Gentle who turns out to be the reconciler who will unite the 5 dominions and make the Imagica whole?
John Fury Zacharias.
Correct. The Hellraiser Chronicles, a comprehensive reference to the series of films, was written by Barker, Stephen Jones, started so I'll finish, and which other screenwriter?
Pete Atkins.
It was indeed. You passed on 2 questions there. The other name of the saint sinner in the Razorline comic books was Philip Fetter. The title of the 1978 film in which Barker appeared alongside Peter Atkins was Forbidden. Okay. You have scored, Andrew Whitworth, 13 points. And our third contender, please. And your name is?
Steve Clark.
Occupation?
Mental health nurse.
Last time around, you chose the television series Red Dwarf as your special subject. Tonight, you're choosing?
The life and works of Tony Hancock.
Tony Hancock, in 2 minutes starting now. What is the name of the road in the Hall Green district of Birmingham where Hancock was born on May the 12th, 1924?
Southern.
Correct. What was the name of the despairing bandmaster played by Hancock in his first film, Orders Are Orders?
Lieutenant Cartwright.
Correct. What was the name of the alcohol detoxification clinic at Rose Bay, Sydney, where Hancock spent his 44th birthday in 1968?
Pass.
What sketch did Hancock famously perform with Alec Bragonzi at the 1958 Royal Variety Performance and on television in Christmas Night with the Stars?
The Budricka sketch.
Correct. At which film festival did Hancock's first full-length feature film, The Rebel, receive its international premiere in the summer of 1960?
Beirut.
Correct. Hancock's second full-length feature film, The Punch and Judy Man, was filmed in which South Coast resort?
Bognor Regis.
Correct. What was the name of the cinema in the Melbourne suburb of Brighton, where on October the 4th, 1967, Hancock began a short run as a warm-up act to a main feature film?
Dendy.
Correct. On February 21st, 1957, Dennis Mayne Wilson produced the last of his 68 Hancock's half hours. What was the prophetic title of this episode?
Pass.
In April 1950, Hancock met his first wife, Cicely Romanis, at an ice skating party to celebrate her 20th birthday. In which London district was the rink where this party was held?
Pass.
What name, after that of the merchant who commissioned and built it, did Hancock give to the house in Tandridge Lane in the Surrey village of Blindley Heath that he moved into in November 1957?
McConkey's.
Correct. In January 1967, Hancock's contribution to a programme about stand-up comedians was dropped because it was too deep and too slow. What was the name of the television series?
Wicker's World.
Correct. Which composer and conductor who underwent a sex change in the 1970s and became Angela Morley wrote the tuba-based theme tune for Hancock's Half Hour?
Wally Stott.
Correct. On January the 9th, 1949, Hancock made the first of his 14 appearances on the BBC light programme's Variety Bandbox. From which London theatre was this particular show broadcast?
The Paris Theatre.
No, the Cambridge Theatre. What was the name of the scoutmaster of the Eager Beavers, played by Hancock in the short-lived radio show of 1951, Happy Go Lucky, started so I'll finish, where Hancock first worked with Ray Galton and Alan Simpson?
Smith.
No, Mr. Ponsonby. You passed on 3 questions. In April 1950, Hancock met his wife at an ice skating party in Bayswater. Dennis Mayne Wilson, those the last of the 68 Hancock half hours, was called, appropriately, the last of the McHancocks. And the name of the alcohol clinic into which Hancock was admitted was Cavell House. It was a private hospital in Sydney. Steve Clark, you have scored 9 points. And our fourth contender, please. And your name is?
Andy Paige.
And your occupation?
I'm a civil servant.
Last time you chose as your subject the Academy Awards. Tonight you are choosing?
The lives and works of Sir William Gilbert and Sir Arthur Sullivan.
And you have 2 minutes on that, starting now. The plot of the Gilbert and Sullivan opera The Gondoliers is concerned with finding the heir to which imaginary country?
Barataria.
Correct. Which opera first performed in 1896 was the last collaboration of Gilbert and Sullivan?
The Grand Duke.
Correct. Which is the only Gilbert and Sullivan opera without any spoken dialogue?
Trial by jury.
Correct. An argument ostensibly over what in 1890 disrupted the partnership between Gilbert and Sullivan for around 2 years?
Carpet.
A carpet.
A new carpet for the Savoy Theatre.
Correct. With whom did Sullivan collaborate on the one-act opera Cox and Box, first performed privately in 1866?
F.C. Burnand.
Correct. Under what pseudonym did Gilbert write his comic verses which contained the germs of many of the later operas?
Bab.
Correct. Gilbert died of heart failure in 1911, brought on by which heroic action?
He was into the water to try and save a woman from drowning.
Correct. What is the name of the village in Cornwall where Ruddigore is set?
Red Herring.
Correct. Who was cast as the learned judge in the first production of Trial by Jury?
Sullivan's brother Fred.
Correct. In Ruddigore, what did Rose Maybird have with her when she was found in a dish cover hung on the knocker of the workhouse door?
A book of etiquette.
Correct. In Utopia Limited, Princess Zara spent 5 years at which Cambridge college?
Girton.
Correct. At which theatre, later renamed the Palace Theatre, did Sullivan's only grand opera Ivanhoe have a continuous run of 160 performances?
Pass.
In which village is Sir Marmaduke Poindexter's mansion where the Sorcerer opens?
Cloverley.
Correct. Which cantata was Sullivan writing after the completion of The Mikado, which prevented him concentrating fully on Gilbert's libretto for Ruddigore?
The Golden Legend.
Correct. By what pet name did Gilbert refer to his wife, whom he married in 1867?
Kitten.
Correct. Thespis, the first and lost collaboration of Gilbert and Sullivan, had which alternative title?
The Gods Grown Old.
Correct. In The Omen of the Guard, how much money does Elsie Maynard expect to receive for becoming Fairfax's bride?
100 crowns.
Correct. In Princess Ida, what educational post does Lady Psyche hold?
Pass.
In Grosvenor's and Bunthorne's duet from Patience, what does an everyday young man think are more fun than Monday pops?
Fugues and ops. Classical fugues and ops.
No, it was actually suburban hops. Equally improbable, you may think. But there we are. You passed on 2 questions. In Princess Ida, the post held by Lady Psyche was Professor of Humanities. And the theatre, which was later renamed the Palace Theatre, was the Royal English Opera. You have scored, Andy Paige, 16 points. And that brings us to the end of the specialist subjects round, so let's take a look at the scores. In 4th place on 9 points, Steve Clark. In 3rd place on 11 points, Katherine Gillespie. In 2nd place, with 13 points, Andrew Whitworth. In the lead, with 16 points, Andy Paige. So, on to round 2 now, our general knowledge round. Let me first ask Steve Clark to join us again, if you would. And looking up the record, you did very well in the last round with Red Dwarf. You got 14 points, 9 points this time with Tony Hancock. You're a mental health nurse. I wondered whether you're interested in him because he was clearly a deeply, deeply tortured man, wasn't he? Had real mental problems of his own.
Yeah, he was a chronic alcoholic, and that was obviously what finished him off in the end.
Suffered terribly from nerves.
Yeah. Terrible stage fright. Every single performance he did, whether it was, on stage or on television, he was physically sick before each performance.
Right. Let's see how you get on with your general knowledge questions, on which you have 2 minutes, starting now. The Band of Hope was founded in about 1847 in Leeds to promote which virtue in children?
Literacy.
No, temperance. The Atacama Desert, reckoned to be the world's driest place, lies mainly in which country?
Peru.
No, Chile. Which composer died in Vienna on November the 19th, 1828, at the age of 31?
Mozart.
Schubert. Which controversial politician was Labour MP for Brent East from 1987 until he stood down in 2000?
Ken Livingstone.
Correct. The plan for which service was conceived in 1912 by the Reverend John Flynn, Superintendent of the Australian Inland Mission of the Presbyterian Church?
Pass.
From the Arabic for coal or hot ashes, what kind of establishment is a hammam?
A steam bath.
It's Turkish bath, but I'll accept that. Which former nightclub pianist who died in March 2003 was the first non-British master of the Queen's music?
Pass.
Perechiel, meaning Parsley Island, was the subject of a dispute between Spain and which North African country in July 2002?
Algeria.
Morocco. The Chardash, a dance with a slow introduction followed by a quick, fiery main section, originated in which country?
France.
Hungary. Which dramatist did Rupert Everett play in the 1998 film Shakespeare in Love?
Christopher Marlowe.
Correct. In the Old Testament, who did Samuel anoint as the first king of Israel?
Saul.
Correct. Which sports team adopted Sweet Georgia Brown as its official theme song in 1952?
Harlem Globetrotters.
Correct. Which newspaper comic strip Layabout was created by Reg Smythe, who died in June 1998?
Andy Catt.
Correct. Which metallic element has the chemical symbol Hg and is widely used in clinical thermometers?
Mercury.
Correct. Cork is obtained from a species of which tree?
Oak.
Correct. Which group's last #1 record in the UK singles chart was Dreadlock Holiday in 1978?
10cc.
Correct. In tennis, who defeated her fellow Belgian... Started, so I'll finish. Who defeated her fellow Belgian Kim Clijsters 6-love, 6-4 to win the 2003 French Open title?
Justine Henin Hardin.
Correct. You passed on 2 questions. The former nightclub pianist who died in 2003, the first non-British master of the Queen's music, was Malcolm Williamson. And the service that was conceived in 1912 by the Reverend John Flynn was the Flying Doctor service. Steve Clark, you have a total of 19 points. And now, Katherine Gillespie, if she would join us, please. And you scored 14 points with the Emperor Nero. Last time around, he served you slightly better than Lawrence of Arabia because you got 11 points with him. But clearly you're drawn to these complex, strong men. Lawrence of Arabia, he was a curious figure, wasn't he? Because he had that extraordinary period in the desert. And
Yes.
then he came back and pursued a rather boring life.
Well, I think he was worn out mentally and physically because he'd been, as you say, living in the desert for about 3 years, living rough, and then he came home and he made a horrible mess of the Paris Peace Conference. That had all gone wrong, so he just came home and hid, really, and then worked on the Schneider Trophy and the flying boats. So he had a wonderful time doing that.
Right, let's have a look at your general knowledge. 11 points so far. Let's see how you get on with 2 minutes of general knowledge. Starting now. Vivian Stanshall, who died in March 95, was the lead vocalist with which satirical 1960s band?
Bonzo Dog Doodah Band.
Correct. Bounded on the south by Pamban Island, Adams Bridge and Manor Island, which strait separates southeastern India from northern Sri Lanka?
Malakas?
The Polk Strait. Which film actress who died in 1937 at the age of 26 was born Harlene Carpentier, the daughter of a Kansas City dentist?
Jean Harlow?
Correct. The Conservative Party's Primrose League is named in honour of which 19th century Prime Minister whose favourite flower it was?
Gladstone?
Disraeli, later made First Earl of Ypres, who was the commander of the British Expeditionary Force sent to France at the start of the First World War?
Sir John French.
Correct. Rodion Romanovich Raskolnikov is the principal character of which novel?
No idea, sorry. Pass.
Which town in the centre of Australia is linked to Adelaide and Darwin by the Stuart Highway?
Alice Springs.
Correct. In painting, what Italian term is used for thick opaque paint applied with a brush, knife or fingers for textural effect?
Tempura?
Impasto, Giacomo is the Italian equivalent of which British forename?
James.
Correct. Which architect designed the Guggenheim Museum in New York, which opened in 1959?
Pass.
The 18th century bullfighter Francisco Romero is credited with the invention of which red cape used in conjunction with a sword?
Don't know. Pass.
Methanoic acid occurring naturally in ant and nettle stings is more commonly known as what?
Formic acid?
Correct. In 1904, 37-year-old Nina Busico, sister to the play's director Dot, became the first person to play which children's character?
Anne of Green Gables.
Peter Pan. Which South African-born MP became the first non-Welsh Labour Secretary of State for Wales in October 2002?
I don't know. Pass.
Which dance is performed to La Galop Infernelle in Offenbach's Orpheus in the Underworld?
No, sorry, pass.
Which tennis player won 11 major men's singles between... I'll Started the question, so I'll finish it. Which tennis player won 11 major men's singles titles between 74 and 81, but never won the Australian or United States championships?
Borg?
Bjorn Borg it was. You passed on 5 questions. The dance in Le Galop Infernal is the can-can.
Oh.
The South African-born MP who became Secretary of State for Wales was Peter Hain. That cape that they use, the red cape in bullfighting, is called the muleta. The architect who designed the Guggenheim was Frank Lloyd Wright, and Raskolnikov is in, of course, Crime and Punishment, which you also knew. Katherine Gillespie, you now have a total of 18 points. And now, Andrew Whitworth, if you would, please. And you did slightly better this time than last time. You got 12 points with Stanley Kubrick last time. You've now chosen Clive Barker, who writes pretty bloody stuff, doesn't he? I mean, he seems to me to be just a horror writer. I dare say you'll tell me he's rather more than that.
Well, I think he spent 15 years trying to get out of the label of being typecast as a horror writer, so... But I don't know what to call him. I think he's a genre on his own.
But he writes horror stories.
Horrible things happen in his stories.
And lots of people get killed, usually rather horribly. And,
No, I disagree.
you disagree?
I think he's a fantasy writer, but he started out as a horror writer.
So he's transformed himself, has he?
I think so, yeah.
Right, let's see how you are on general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. Which female singer's Grammy-winning debut album, Come Away With Me, was first released in 2002?
Macy Gray?
No, Nora Jones. In the context of the German army, what is the literal meaning of panzer?
Panther.
No, armoured, or coat of mail. The winter sports biathlon consists of cross-country skiing and which other sport?
Rifle shooting.
Correct. Which artist, with Georges Braque, developed Cubism in the early 20th century?
Picasso.
Correct. What is the common name for the houseplant Sansevieria, which has long, pointed, yellow striped leaves?
Aspidistra.
No, mother-in-law's tongue. Which unit originally referred to the area of land which a team of oxen could plough in a day?
Acre.
Correct. At which battle of 1513 against the English was King James IV of Scotland killed?
Bannockburn.
No, Flodden. Which travel and financial services company grew from the merger of Wells Fargo and another transportation company in 1850?
Western Union.
American Express. Which region of France is divided into 2 departments, Bas-Rhin and Haut-Rhin?
Pass.
Who succeeded Dr. Boutros Boutros-Ghali as Secretary-General of the United Nations in January 1997?
Kofi Annan.
Correct. In football, who celebrated his 50th cap in the England match against Slovakia in June this year by captaining the side throughout and scoring 2 goals?
Michael Owen.
Correct. A valuable source of fibre. What name is given to the pieces of grain husk separated from flour after milling?
Copra.
No, Bran. Which American crime novelist created the medical examiner Kay Scarpetta?
Pass.
Vultur gryphus, a bird native to South America with a wingspan reaching 10 metres, is better known by what name?
Condor.
Correct. Which Indian stringed instrument has 5 melody strings, 2 or more drone strings, and 9 to 13 sympathetic strings in the hollow neck?
Sitar.
Correct. Which lyricist collaborated with Richard Rodgers on many popular musicals, including The Girlfriend and Pal Joey?
Hammerstein.
No, Lawrence Hart. Which acid is present in the gastric juice in the human stomach?
Bile.
Hydrochloric acid is the answer. You passed on 2 questions. The American crime novelist who created Kay Scarpetta was Patricia Cornwell, and the region of France, divided into 2 departments, Bas-Rhin and Haut-Rhin, is Alsace. Andrew Whitworth, you have scored a total of 20 points. And now Andy Paige, please. And you did better this time than last as well. Well, you got 16 points this time, which is a great deal on Gilbert and Sullivan. They've managed to stick around, haven't they?
They have. I mean, a lot of it is pure satire. A lot of Gilbert's writing is attacking targets, which...
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, currently the House of Lords is up for grabs, and Iolanthe was a pure attack on the House of Lords and its privileges and the way it was able to block legislation. He was attacking artistic movements. He was taking a lot of fun at the royal family. The royal family had a really hard time with them.
How interesting. Let's see how you do on your general knowledge round. 2 minutes, starting now. Which businessman succeeded Rudolph Giuliani as mayor of New York at the end of 2001?
Bloomberg.
Correct. The author of the first regular Times crossword, published in 1930, was the father of which former television news reporter and MP?
Pass.
In bridge or whist, what name is given to a hand containing no card higher than a 9?
Yarborough.
Correct. According to Dr. Johnson, what's the last refuge of a scoundrel?
Patriotism.
Correct. Which British city's cathedral is built on the site of a monastery dedicated to St. Werburgh, a Mercian princess who died in about 700 AD?
Bristol.
Chester. Which genus of large coniferous tree differs from most conifers in that it sheds its leaves in winter?
Douglas fir.
It is the larch. Which sporting occasion is the subject of an 1856 painting by William Frith, which can be seen in the Manchester City Art Gallery?
Grand National.
Derby Day. Joel and Ethan are the first names of which film producing and directing brothers?
Cohen.
Correct. Which inventor's 1,093 patents include the incandescent electric lamp, the phonograph and the motion picture projector?
Thomas Edison.
Correct. Which sea, a part of the Mediterranean, lies between Sardinia and southern Italy?
Tyrrhenian.
Correct. Which Liverpool duo scored a notable nil point for the 2003 UK Eurovision entry, Crybaby?
Gemini.
Correct. Which dukedom was conferred in 1663 on James Scott, the illegitimate son of Charles II, who later led a rebellion against James II?
Monmouth.
Correct. Prior to its adoption of the euro, in which country did 100 penia equal 1 marker?
Finland.
Correct. The adjective cervine refers to which animal?
Deer.
Correct. Whose first ballet composition, The Firebird, was completed in 1910?
Rimsky-Korsakov.
Stravinsky. Which disease, first identified in 1976, takes its name from a war veterans organisation in the United States?
Legionnaire's disease.
Correct. Which mixture of powdered chalk and linseed oil used in DIY takes its name from the French for potful?
Resin.
Putty. Harold V became king of which country in 1991?
Norway.
Correct. Which former Labour cabinet minister... Started, so I'll finish. Which former Labour cabinet minister has the real four names Robert Finlayson?
Robin Cook.
You guessed, and you guessed correctly. You passed on only one question. The author of the first regular Times crossword was the father of an old friend and colleague of mine, Martin Bell. However, Andy Paige, you have scored a total of 29 points. And that brings us to the end of the third quarter final. So let's look at the scores. In fourth place, with 18 points, Katherine Gillespie. In third place, with 19 points, Steve Clark. In second place, with 20 points, Andrew Whitworth. In first place, with 29 points, and that's the highest score in the quarter final so far, Andy Paige. So the winner tonight, and our third finalist, therefore, is Andy Paige. Congratulations to him, and our thanks to the other quarter-finalists who did so well. Please join us next time for the fourth quarter-final of Mastermind. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Coming up tonight, conflict and confusion in Stephen Polyakoff's jazzy new drama Dancing on the Edge at 9. Next this afternoon, memories of the Queen's coronation on Melvyn Bragg's Real History of Britain.